Jordan Raines here with the IDP 411 podcast. Just want to tell you guys today about our sponsor of the show, expandtheboxscore.com. Expandtheboxscore.com has premium NFL and college football stats. They're adaptable, they're affordable, there's all kinds of great stuff on there from the NFL to college football. It's great for people that are in the Devy leagues looking to get that edge over their league mates. So go check out expandtheboxscore.com, proud sponsor of the show. And now without further ado, on to the IDP 411.
Yo, what's up? This is Jared Groves, my co-host Jordan Raines. I'm kind of just moved, impromptu moving. I was supposed to move for 2 more weeks, but here we are. I'm back in the great state of Oklahoma. Jordan, obviously, where he's at, normal spot. You got a different background today, though.
Yeah, I moved my camera around. I figured since you're getting a whole new setup and stuff, I figured I'd, mess around with my spot a little. And I kind of like this setup a little bit better. We'll see how it is. If you get any feedback, if you guys like it, if you don't, or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I kind of like the way it looks. So we'll see how it goes today. But
yeah,
wow, we got a ton. Yeah, we got a ton of free agency stuff to go over for the defensive side of the ball today. The day started off with the DeAndre Hopkins things, but then after it was all defensive. So guess we should go ahead and dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy, man. I mean, we obviously knew we were going to do some free agencies and stuff like that, so I guess we can get right into this.
Yeah, Steve, shout out Steve. He made us these awesome, cards back here, kind of keeping us up to date with some of the moves. Some guys were franchise tags, some guys, were traded and stuff like that. But we're going to, try to cover all the really mainly IDP relevant guys. But big moves we got for as far as edge rushers and the defensive line. Eric Armstead got a 5-year deal with the San Francisco 49ers, which led to DeForest Buckner getting traded to the Colts.
I just couldn't believe that, man. I just, in comparison, Eric Armstead or DeForest Buckner. I mean, I know how you are with DeForest Buckner. You've been a fan for a minute.
Yeah,
so
I love me some Buck. So.
I think they overpaid for Eric Armstead.
They got him a little cheaper than they were going to have to get Buckner, and I don't want to say he's more versatile, but they played him inside and outside a little bit more. I mean, I think it was just a money thing for them. They just, they wanted to get rid of Buckner. I mean, they figured they could get comparable production. It did take Armstead a little bit longer to put up the numbers that Buckner did, but what are you going to do? Now the Colts defensive line with Buckner on it, though. Woo! I mean,
boy, it looks tough, right? I mean,
that looks tough. Buckner was drafted 7 overall, and he just got traded for the 13 overall pick. I mean, his stock's going down very slowly.
Yeah.
Who knows what it
extremely slower. The way you really look at it, he's held his value, and
absolutely,
I get it. I mean, you're not going to have to pay him like you're going to have to pay the first rounder. So, in that aspect, it kind of depends on who they go after. Like you said, we expected Yannick Ngakoue to get franchise tag. Shaq Barrett expecting. I'm a little weary about the franchise tag on Shaq Barrett. I've said this from the beginning, and so have you. We think a lot of it is because of Ndamukong Suh. So that's kind of a weird one.
Yeah,
I don't know how I feel about that one.
Barrett, I mean, I think they want to see if they can do it again, I'm not sure what's up with Sue. I don't think he's been signed anywhere yet or picked up quite yet. I'm sure they're probably trying to work something out with him. Dante Fowler got a 3-year deal with Atlanta. That was, of all these guys on this list, I'll just read them off real quick. For guys that aren't following along on YouTube or wherever, if you're listening to the podcast, we got some graphics up. But Bud Dupree got franchise tagged. Matt Judon got franchise tagged. Robert Quinn got a 5-year deal with Chicago. I love me some Robert Quinn. You know that. Jason Pierre-Paul got re-signed for 2 years, $25 million deal with Tampa. Shaq Lawson got a 3-year deal with Miami. And Kyle Van Noy also went to Miami. Those are some of the bigger edge rusher guys and kind of some movement.
Let's give Miami some shout out, man. I mean, they are doing what they need to do on the defensive side to make them look so good to go after who they want to in the draft. And I still believe this. I still think they're going to trade up to get Tua. And with all the moves they're making defensively, sure makes it look pretty good. They've got 14 draft picks.
I know, that's wild. And they just shored up, like you said, several spots. I mean, they kind of got a lot of these edge rusher guys. I mean, they brought in Van Noy, they brought in Lawson. Those guys are definitely an upgrade to. I don't even know who their pass rushers were last year.
Well, they had Taco Charlton, who they got in the, from Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
They got the kid DeMarcus Lawrence, right? From
no, I know who you're talking about.
The other Lawrence from Clemson.
I don't know. They weren't good.
No,
they were. They had Wilkins. They drafted him high last year, right? Christian Wilkins.
Yeah, Wilkins, who I was thinking about.
Okay, yeah, he was a Clemson guy you're talking about. So, but Miami did good. Of those guys that were on that list we just named, to me, the one that really, really sticks out, or the two that really stick out, are Dante Fowler and Robert Quinn. Both former Rams, now find themselves on new teams. I've been a Robert Quinn guy for a while. I've been, I ranted and raved about him during the season. He played 2 or 3 less games. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was 2 or 3 games less than DeMarcus Lawrence this year, and he had more he had more pressures, he had more sacks, he had more tackles, he had more everything than DeMarcus Lawrence this season. And he was faced double coverage a lot. I've seen a lot of stuff, so he kind of came back to form to, similar to that all-pro year he had with St. Louis Rams back in the day. So I've heard some people say that Chicago might have overpaid a little bit for him, but if he's healthy, he's only ever really been productive, so.
Oh yeah, he's stout. I mean, I like it. I like the move for Chicago. I think it's the move that's going to help.
Chicago,
the guy they
on offense, their defense was already pretty okay.
Yeah, their defense. Well, I thought it took a pretty big bath compared to the year before, didn't it?
No,
don't you?
You're definitely right on that front. A lot of the same guys were there. It just wasn't as good. So, what do you think about Dante Fowler going to Atlanta?
I would say that without a doubt, it's the best move that we didn't expect from them. You know what I mean? Because they have taken so many problems at Atlanta. I mean, they keep drafting a guy, and they just haven't really got their guy. I think they got him for cheaper than I really expect. A healthy Dante Fowler has been a savage when he's been in. I mean, he was a first-round draft pick. Hurt his knee. He didn't play for Jacksonville. They traded him.
He was number 3 overall pick.
Yeah,
and Mariota. I mean, he was that guy. I mean, that's Nick Bosa stuff right there. So,
yeah, I think that we can see a big move for him. I think that's the right move for Atlanta. I think it's a good move for him. He's closer to where he went to college in Florida. I think they sell tickets because of him. I think it's just overall, I think it's a good marriage.
Yeah,
and I think for IDP fans, they're going to love it.
Yeah,
personally.
I really like the fact that he gets to play next to Grady Jarrett. We saw this last season was his best statistical season. Especially for IDP, and he played next to Aaron Donald. Another guy who is an interior wrecker. Grady Jarrett is also an interior defensive lineman that is a complete wrecking ball. So Dante Fowler should have plenty of opportunities to build on what he did last year. His 11.5 sack season. He almost hit 60 combined tackles last year, 16 tackles for loss. So, there's a chance he could put up better numbers than that with Atlanta. I like it. I like it a lot. So let's move on to some of these other moves we got here. Some other rushers. We got Mario Addison, got a 3-year deal with Buffalo. Carl Nassib, this one was really weird to me. This was a really weird Raiders flex. Carl Nassib, 3-year deal to Las Vegas. I think it was like $17 million guaranteed or something. Emmanuel Ogbah got signed a 2-year deal with Miami. That was the other pass rusher that went to Miami. And Ogbah was doing pretty good for Kansas City before he got hurt this last year.
I like Ogbah. I thought he was a good draft pick for the Browns. I just don't think they used him correctly when he was there.
The Browns did that a lot.
They've done that a heck of a lot over their time. So,
Yep. These are a little bit, lesser, these are guys that are probably at the very end of your bench or on your waiver wire kind of guys we're getting to here. But Ronald Blair re-signed with San Francisco. Quentin Jefferson, this one was interesting to me because he's going to take over that Jordan Phillips role next to Ed Oliver. He got a 2-year deal in Buffalo. So maybe he's not really an upside play, but you can put him into your lineup and you're probably not going to get goosed. But I wonder what his production is going to look like next to Oliver this next year. Stephen Weatherly got a 2-year deal with Carolina. Leonard Floyd, 1-year deal with the Rams. Hopefully, I guess they're going to try to get Dante Fowler production out of Leonard Floyd. Good luck. Bruce Irvin, undisclosed deal. He's back with Seattle. And a couple other guys here that honestly you're probably never going to play on your fantasy teams, but maybe take a look. Of these guys, who sticks out the most to you?
Well, I like where Dante Fowler did last year with the Rams, so I'm going to have to give you Leonard Floyd. I think he gets a resurgence for himself. I think he, kind of starts showing up. And of the group that we just listed, I would say that's the guy that I think has the better chance to show something in the long run. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just personally, I like him. I think he can be a solid guy.
I like that thought, because again, he is stepping into some shoes, and somebody's got to do something there. Rams just lost, we'll get to here in a second. Let's see what we got on this next card here. Okay, we got some interior defensive line action here for you guys. Chris Jones was franchise tagged. Javon Hargrave, this was a nice one for the Eagles. Got a 3-year deal, $39 million deal. I had him on a couple of my teams last year, and my D tackle specifically. He's got him late. He finished top 10, so he was rock solid. Michael Brocker's got a 3-year deal. He's leaving the Rams as well. Another Rams player departing. He's headed to Baltimore. DJ Reader, not really a big IDP player, but he got a 4-year deal with Cincinnati. That's a huge boost to their defense overall. Leonard Williams, I literally don't want to even waste breath speaking about him.
I can't believe they franchise tagged him.
Yeah, give me a break. Gerald McCoy, he signed a 3-year deal with Dallas. That's good for him. He's been a good player, and I think he'll fit in well with what Dallas is doing. Jerron Reed re-signed 2-year deal with Seattle. A couple other guys here. Malik Collins with the Raiders. Danny Shelton, who was quietly an okay-ish D tackle guy for the Patriots last year. 2-year deal with Detroit. And then I really like this move. Jordan Phillips went to Arizona, signed a 3-year deal with the Cardinals, and Sean Robinson is departing the Detroit Lions to go to the Rams. So, there's a little movement here. Some guys that that group of guys, I really like Jordan Phillips. I like that the Chiefs are keeping Chris Jones as well, but I'm worried they might try to trade him or something. So, what do you think about that group right there, that interior group?
I love the Chris Jones move. I think they're going to go. I've said this from a long time. I think they really like Neville Gallimore. If they don't get him, they're going to go after another pass rush guy. I can see that move happening. I'm not exactly sure if it's going to happen in the first round or second round, but I think they did that to give him some more help. You know what I mean? By franchise tagging him, they get him for cheaper than they were going to have to sign him long term.
And it gives them flexibility. It gives them flexibility on what to do with him. They're not locked into a contract quite yet. We can see how this draft goes, and we can see kind of, what the next move is for the team. So I'm with you there. We have a few more interior guys here. Honestly, not many of these guys are going to be IDP relevant. If you guys are on the screen, you can see it here. Andrew Billings, Vernon Butler, new teams, Tyler Davidson, Rodney Gunner. So let's get to the good stuff. Let's see what we got here. One more interior quick. All right, here we go. This is the money ball right here, the linebackers. We had some big IDP movers at linebacker. We had 2 top 10 guys go to new teams in Cory Littleton, 3-year deal with Vegas, the Raiders, and Joe Schobert, a 5-year deal with the Jaguars. Those were lightning rod moves right there. Blake Martinez also got a 3-year deal with the Giants. Big move. Nick Kwiatkowski got a 3-year deal with Vegas. Big move. Christian Kirksey, 2-year deal with Green Bay. Big move. You had a couple other little moves. Jamie Collins, I guess not really a little move. 3-year deal with Detroit. let's talk about Cory Littleton a little bit. I know you're a huge Cory Littleton fan. You always have been. What do you think about this move to the Raiders?
I think it's the right move for them. I'm not really keen on how cheap they got him for because I think he's worth a ton. Just me personally.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he should probably be one of the high. I mean, he should be probably the highest paid linebacker in the league. With the departure of Luke Kuechly, Darius Leonard still his contract, I guess, will come next year. But Cory Littleton had back-to-back not good seasons, great seasons, elite seasons. 125 combined tackles in 18, 134 this year. Almost 90 solos last year. 5.5 tackles for loss. He's great in coverage. The pass deflections and the interceptions show you that. I'm with you. This guy should be getting probably 12 to 14 mil a year.
I really thought he was going to get 15 million. I'm just dead honest. I think that he's that valuable to the Rams, who somehow let him go, especially with all the guys that they made moves to go to the Super Bowl, and then him step up the way he did. To let him go and not do anything for him is mind-boggling to me.
The Rams are they seem to be a very poorly managed team lately. It seemed like they put a lot of their eggs in that basket for the Super Bowl, and it did not pan out. I mean, Cory Littleton was undrafted. I mean, they literally got him for nothing. They got, All-Pro basically. He didn't actually ever get an All-Pro nod, but he should have got an All-Pro nod at linebacker the last 2 years.
I agree.
And you're just going to let him walk, like you said. It kind of, to me, I don't like the way the linebacker market is because these guys do so much of the heavy lifting, and it's a lot like running backs where they're like the least appreciated guys. And it seems like, yeah. Anyway, I don't want to get in the weeds on that, but Cory Littleton he got a bag for an undrafted guy. I wouldn't turn down what he got. So good for him. Let's talk about our other dude here, All-Pro Joe. He's not officially All-Pro, guys, but for us, he's All-Pro in our hearts. He should have been All-Pro too. I mean, you put his numbers up against some of these other guys in the league. 133 tackles this year. What do you have? 140 something last year or 2 years ago? He was on pace.
Dude's been balling.
Yeah, 6.5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks this last year, 9 pass deflections, 4 interceptions. I mean, this dude's an absolute game wrecker. He got a good deal with Jacksonville, where he should be slotting in next to Miles Jack, who is not very great. So, what do you think about his production? Do you think he can even go up higher than he did? Do you think he can do more with Jackson?
Well, look at some of the guys that I'll give you a good example. 2 years ago, one of the top 3 linebackers played for Miami in Kiko Alonso. Nothing against Kiko, but he ain't Joe Schobert right now. He didn't do – what did he play, like 10% of snaps this year for the Saints?
I think it was a little more than that, but he didn't do much.
And I really think Joe Schobert literally just going to hit his stride. He's going to get to go to warmer weather. They're obviously going to be on the field more because I don't think their offense is going to blow up all of a sudden. No, I'll be honest. He's a guy that I'm coveted after. I think he gets just as many tackles this year that he did last year. And he's good in coverage.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, he grades out on PFF as a top, 10 coverage linebacker. So 10, 12, I'm not exactly sure, but it's in the top, top. He's legit. I'm with you, too. There should be plenty of snaps to go around in Jacksonville. And that Miles Jack isn't going to eat into his production. So,
no.
Miles Jack, for anyone listening that's not aware, Miles Jack is the most overpaid, underachieving linebacker maybe of all time.
Well, they even said to move him, they're doing this to move him to the outside, right? And that just makes me want to have Schobert more.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Schobert, he's a boss. I'm glad he got paid. I'm glad Littleton got paid. Let's talk about a couple of these other guys on this list. Let's talk about Christian Kirksey. The 2-year deal with Green Bay, I love this. I love this move. Blake Martinez has only just basically put up 140 tackles every year in Green Bay. If Christian Kirksey is healthy, he's a better linebacker than Blake Martinez, and I think that there's, that kind of – he's got a safe floor, a very safe floor. He's got a high ceiling with Green Bay. What are your thoughts?
Obviously, I like the move by them. I think he's more athletic. I don't know if he's even close to the tackler, though, that Blake Martinez is. And by talking to a lot of Packers players, Blake Martinez is going to be missed because of his leadership. People, like his teammates, loved him. Yeah. He brought in rookies, veterans, all those guys looked up to him. And I think that's we're talking about Kirksey being the team captain for the Browns. How, can he move right back into that role that they're missing? So a healthy Kirksey, great. Man, I think he's a great move. I think $13 million a year is kind of ridiculous.
He already had gotten paid too by the Browns pretty well. But I mean, look at his 2 really good seasons where he started 16 games each of them for the Browns. I mean, he had 148 tackles and 138 tackles back-to-back seasons. Then he got paid, and then he got paid the last 2 years.
They couldn't get off the field.
Well, yeah, no joke. But I mean, similar story though. Blake Martinez has been gobbling up tackles. I mean, 144, 144, 155 this last year.
Yeah, but we're also talking about a team that has been to the playoffs every year in comparison, and he's put those numbers up. His offense stays on the field. The Browns doesn't. So anybody that signed Blake Martinez was going to get a monster deal. And the fact that where he went is killer for them. I think it's a good move on Green Bay, but makes me really wonder, some of these huge moves, linebacking moves that teams made are guys that I had in my mock drafts, the Raiders. Obviously taking Littleton, the Packers, and then we got the Jags. We've got the Giants.
Martinez on the Giants, where he's never going to leave the field. Well, I don't know about that. Maybe that's a little bit dramatic, but he should be on the field a lot, unless the Giants take a huge step forward offensively. I like all these moves. I mean, all 3 of these guys, again, were top 10 linebackers last year for IDP, and they're on new teams. And, you're trying to sift through and figure out, what's going to change. And it's, I don't see anybody taking a hit by any of this. I mean, they got paid to do what they've already been doing. Unless these guys get hurt, I mean, you can, in my mind, all 3 of them, you can pencil right back into top 10 linebacker production. And I think Kirksey, what do you think, top 18?
Yeah, I see him a top 20 guy for sure. If he can put up the numbers that he has when he's healthy, I think he's I'd say top 20.
Yeah. Oh, and the other nice thing about going to Green Bay is there's nobody else there. I mean, it's going to be him, and that's it. Savage on the back end, and if they you got no one else to do it.
But see, and that's where I'm thinking that they might take a linebacker in the draft.
True. You're 100% right. They're a lot of these teams that did make these moves are still probably going to go get somebody, because that 3rd, 4th round.
Well, they're still paying Curtis Bolton, and he seems to be healthy right now. If he has a good, spring training, who knows? I mean, he could be right next to Kirksey. Him. Ty Summers, those are all guys that I'm looking at. I really expected Ty Summers to make a leap last year, especially the way he started out in spring training, but he didn't. So I don't know. We'll see what they do. I still see them going after a linebacker, and then obviously that's going to be a show we're going to be talking about. Another mock draft, another draft. So
yeah, fair. All right, let's see what else we got. Again, we hit on Kwiatkowski. We like him a lot around here. I think he's going to do very well with Littleton. I think he's got LB2 upside. I'm probably not drafting him until like maybe my LB3 though. Just being real, I liked it more when Littleton wasn't quite there, and they were maybe going to draft somebody, but that broke quickly the second day of free agency. So Other big moves at linebacker, or just moves at linebacker, really. Devondre Campbell got a 1-year deal with Arizona. There's a guy who's going to see a ton of snaps. He's playing next to Jordan Hicks, who completely gobbled up tackles last year, was either the linebacker 1 or 2 or 3, depending on what your league format was last year. So I expect Devondre Campbell to, have similar type of production. Thomas Davis went to Washington. I'm not super excited for that necessarily. I mean, he was up and down last year. That's just the best.
I see that as the familiar with the coach. That's why he's there, 100%.
Yeah. And he's a leader. He's exactly. I mean, he's a coach on the field. Basically, he's a locker room presence. He's a guy that knows what it takes to get to the Super Bowl, knows what it takes to stay healthy, knows what it takes to have a long career in the NFL. And if I'm a head coach and I know there's a guy out there like that, that's a good guy to go put in your locker room. So. Camu Grugier-Hill got a 1-year deal with Miami. That's really doesn't do much for me. Noah Hewitt re-signed with the Jets. I kind of like that. Jets linebackers, it's kind of just who's healthy this week. So you could throw Hewitt on the bench a lot cheaper than you can throw C.J. Mosley on the end of your bench. Sean Lee re-signed 1-year deal with Dallas. John Bostic re-signed a 2-year deal with Washington. BJ Goodson got a 1-year deal with Cleveland. I'm assuming he's, there's building depth there. They're definitely going to have to go to the draft. They went to the draft last year twice, but I still anticipate that. Other linebacker moves, there was a lot more small end linebacker moves. We're not really going to talk about those right now, but there were some other guys that did get, picked up some, bench guys later in the season when the starting the rosters and all that come out. We'll dig into that. Who you think could start, who could move up, depth charts and all that. But
well, right now I would tell you the biggest moves I've seen: Arizona, Miami. Arizona getting Jordan Phillips and Devondre Campbell to shore up that defense. Devondre Campbell next to Hicks is like a dream come true for a defensive coordinator. You got 2 guys. If you need to rush one, great. If you need to drop one in coverage, great, because both of them can do it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what they're really going for, the versatility there. Jordan Phillips gives you a great run stop guy, good pass rusher. I mean, between them and Miami, they've done what they've needed to do to look strong in the long run and to draft who they want to draft, not, let what they need and want. I mean, to get a need and want in the draft is huge. And we've said this from the get-go. Arizona needs to do is to protect their quarterback. They're going to go after offensive tackle now, especially getting the defensive players and DeAndre Hopkins in this steal trade of the century.
The NFL heist of a lifetime. DeAndre Hopkins for a 4th-round pick and a running back that will 100% be out of the league in 4 years when DeAndre Hopkins is just cresting 30 years old.
I don't know if he makes it through his contract.
Oh no! I mean, that's like best case scenario. That's him Frank Goring it, like just hanging. Just I'm still here, guys. I'm doing it. That's reality is he'll probably start a year in Houston, and if he does really good, he might get 1 more year in Houston, and then he probably won't. He'll probably DeMarco Murray us. I mean, he had hotness, and then just fizz. So.
Yeah, bro. I see him dropping off fast and. Just complete steal. And, they're going to get value out of the other draft pick. So
yeah, they didn't even give up it's heist of a lifetime. There's lots of offensive fantasy shows you guys can hear all.
Bro, if we're in a fantasy, here's the thing is if we're in a fantasy draft and I submitted that for a trade, I'd probably get kicked out of the group.
Rejected. You'd be laughed out of that trade chat. Get out of here. What are you talking about? Yeah. Another relevant move while we got Arizona on the mind was Devin Kennard.
Yeah.
I kind of skipped over him a little bit a minute ago earlier when I was going over the linebackers, but he's a pass rushing linebacker that was with Detroit. They brought him in to play, I guess, come off the other edge opposite Chandler Jones. So 7 sacks this year, 7 sacks the year before. Not terrible. That's consistency, I guess.
Productive.
30 tackles last year, or 46 combined tackles in 18, 58 this year. So that's IDP production right there from a guy. So he's a pass rushing linebacker. So you're kind of hoping to get 7+ sacks, in my opinion. If I can get 60-ish tackles, I want 7+ sacks. So he's right on the cusp. With Chandler Jones screaming off the other end and Jordan Phillips now inside, there's a chance to get a guy like Devin Kennard and maybe get I'm not going to say a Shaq Barrett type season out of him, but you might get 75% of what Shaq Barrett does, with the change of scenery, with the new opportunity, new people around.
He could get 10 easily.
Mm-hmm. He could definitely go up. So this is a good move. They paid him. He got a 3-year contract. So I just wanted to make sure I highlighted him. I kind of had skipped.
I love the IDP moves that they have made. I mean, I just absolutely love it.
Yeah, disruptive defense. I mean, Buda Baker, Chandler Jones, Jordan Hicks, for all of his flaws, is still a disruptive guy. You had Devondre Campbell, who had some big weeks last year for IDP. You had Jordan Phillips, which they didn't even have an interior defensive line as far as I know last year. You had Kevin Denard. I mean, you got some good things going on there. So there's a few defensive back moves. We'll just kind of go over here real quick. Linebacker, defensive backs. I'm just going to hit the guys that are really IDP relevant. We don't play in a lot of cornerback-specific leagues, or I don't. I play in a couple, but I don't spend my time racking my brain over who's going to get targeted, quite as much as I do over who's going to get tackles. But Byron Jones did get a big deal with Miami. Miami, again, we're talking about them in Arizona making moves. 5-year, $82.5 million. James Bradbury got a 3-year deal with the Giants. He actually is a guy that has been a bit IDP productive. Let's see here. Kendall Fuller, we liked him last year. For Kansas City. He went to Washington, which is, I believe, where he originally hailed from. Let's see if there's any other, really sort of.
I like the Dequaz Leonard to Washington. Thought that was he did go to Jacksonville. Sorry. I thought that was a good move on their part. Again, that kind of takes my mock draft because I thought they would take the kid from Florida. I think that changes that. James Bradbury, going to the Giants again. They've made some good moves defensively. I kind of still tell you my mock draft, they're going to take an offensive lineman because they continue to make good defensive moves. Mackenzie Alexander is the steal, I think. They signed an unclosed deal, but it sounds like they got him pretty cheap at Cincinnati, which is kind of interesting to me because they also got Trey Waynes. So didn't they take both guys? They got
both of them.
Yeah, they got Trey Waynes and Mackenzie Alexander, which honestly they got them for cheap. They got them for cheap, and I think that there could be pretty solid. Personally, I think they need to change the scenery. Personally,
yeah.
Other defensive backs.
Yeah, go ahead.
Phillip Gaines. I love Phillip Gaines going to Houston or re-signing Houston. I think that's what they needed. I'm loving C.J. Goodwin signed with Dallas. I know that he came back basically. Josh Norman, we already talked about him. Whatever. Eli Apple, I think, is done. Sorry to all you Ohio State fans, but he hasn't been very impressive at all. Vernon Hargreaves, remember last year we talked about Vernon Hargreaves having that monster day where he had 14 tackles.
And then he was cut 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
And
it was bonkers. So he ended up signing
Houston, right?
With Houston. Yeah.
He does right there.
Pretty solid for them. I think that's the right move. Again, nothing crazy. But
we had a few more defensive back moves. I'm mostly just trying to find out what's up with my safeties here. Here's some safeties. There you go, Steve. Guys, shout out Steve. He's such a boss. These cards are amazing. He's got all of our safeties on one card. Awesome, love it. We got a Justin Simmons. He got franchise tagged. He's a solid defensive back. He pushed into that defensive back 1 area last year towards the end of the season. Low end 1, high end 2. Jimmy Ward resigns with San Francisco on a 3-year deal. Anthony Harris was franchise tagged. Malcolm Jenkins was signed by New Orleans. And I know Will Parks was actually signed by the Eagles to kind of fill that gap.
I was really sad that Clinton Dix signed with Dallas.
Yeah.
Really good move by Dallas. Because honestly, he doesn't get burned. He's pretty consistent. It's crazy how many teams he's played with, which makes me really wonder, like, is he a team guy? Because, I mean, he's played – I mean, let's talk about this. He's played at Green Bay. He's played at Washington, Chicago, and now Dallas. And he's young.
Yeah. He's moved around a lot, that's for sure.
I mean, we're talking, what, 6 seasons, 7 seasons? We're talking about this dude? I mean, it's a good move on their part. Eric Murray made a – I think they did this for depth because when they lost to Reed last year, they needed another guy. So
they really showed that they were weak at safety once Reed kind of got popped early on after they had lost they lost Matthew and they lost what's his face from the Broncos? I forget. You know who I'm talking about. Kareem Jackson.
Kareem Jackson, yeah.
Other big safety moves, though. Trey Boston re-signed with the Carolina Panthers 3-year deal. He was really good last year, especially for IDP, for a waiver wire guy that I found. You could play him every week, not necessarily get high-end 1 numbers out of him, but you could get a 1 or a 2 week out of him pretty much consistently, a 2 anyway. Let's see what else we got over here. Adrian Phillips got a 2-year deal with New England. Sean Davis, who's a name to definitely remember for a stash, in my opinion, got a deal with Washington, a 1-year deal. Anthony Sendejo got a 1-year deal with Cleveland. He might be relevant. I mean, they need safety help there. I don't know how their linebacker core is going to shake out.
They really need to do something on that aspect.
And then there's not really anybody else overly excited to talk about.
I always love Miles Kilburn name. I love the name, to be honest with you.
I feel like I've heard his name come up over and over the last couple of years, and it never really pans out to be much. But let's kind of shift gears here a little bit. We have some interesting ones here. I'm gonna pop up. Eric Reed was released by the Panthers. They said they liked his leadership. You know, he had an excellent season statistically and all that. But the Panthers let him go. I mean, this is a new regime and all that. Who do you think?
Bro,
I mean, he's suddenly one of the top.
I'm shocked, dude. He put up linebacker 1 numbers.
No joke. Yeah, he absolutely crushed this year. 130 combined tackles, almost 100 solo. 7 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, which is the second most at safety, I'm pretty sure, behind only Jamal Adams. 6 pass deflections, 2 forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries. I mean, this guy's a stud. Where do you think he ends up? Because he's not going to stay long.
I can't believe he hasn't re-signed already. I mean,
he's probably got so many deals sitting in front of him. He's got so much to dig through.
Yeah, but I mean, guys are signing and signing. I mean, I could have seen him at Dallas. I could have seen him. I don't know how you don't re-sign him at Carolina. He already is a good system for him. Even with the new coach coming in, you lose your best linebacker in Luke Kuechly. You need somebody to shore up the backside. I think he should re-sign there. I could see him going to San Francisco. I could see him. Man, to be honest, I could put him so many different places.
And that's the thing. There's so many teams that need a good safety right now. And I mean, I'm just kind of, dream come true. I mean, Miami would be a good spot for him. I kind of think that the Colts wouldn't be a bad spot for him. You got some thugs on the Colts right now with Buckner, Houston, Darius Leonard. Throw Eric Reed out there on the field, and let's see what happens.
I'm with you. I could see that too. They could be studs. And the thing is, if it kind of depends on what he's asking for. I mean, if he's asking for first rounder money, which he is, but he's also older. And if you could get him for, I don't know, $10 million a year, $8 million a year, do it.
Worth it. He's a difference maker.
Yeah. I would love to see him in Miami personally. With the moves that they've made, I think they could be elite in the overall in the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, that was a weird move. We'll be speculating. I'm sure in the next couple of weeks, guys, we'll bring it up. We'll talk about it. We'll break it down. But right now, one of the best, top 3 defensive back from last season is available. So somebody's going to sign him. Let's see here. We got a couple other guys with some interesting situations. We all thought that Everson Griffin was going to go back to the Vikings, but it looks like, we heard from his Instagram, I guess, or whatever yesterday, he's not returning to the Vikings, so he's out there available. This is his 2019 numbers. I mean, he had 41 total tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 8 sacks, 24 quarterback hits. That's big. 2 pass deflections and an interception. I mean, it's kind of incredible if they're not finding a way to put him back on this line.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of surprised Cleveland hasn't made the move. Especially with, I think he helps out the 2 edge rushers. I think he helps Sheldon Richardson out in that aspect. I think he obviously knows the coach. So, but it could be a thing like he wants more money than people are willing to give him. And that could be a lot of it. But you know how it is. You can't have enough edge rushers. You can't have enough defensive linemen.
You can't have enough elite edge rushers either. And he is, consistent. I mean, his career has been consistent. I mean, he's gone over double-digit sacks 3 different times. He basically puts up 40-plus tackles a year. His tackles for loss, he's hit double digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years of his 10-year career, so every other year.
But that's the thing is, it's 10 years. It's a long time.
Exactly. And he wasn't even a starter the first 1, 2, 3, 4 years. I mean, it took till year 5 when he became a starter. And then he just, since then, I mean, he's been good. I'm interested to see where he ends up. We got other, let's talk about this too. I mean, we got Yannick Ngakoue is still out there available too in free agency. 41 tackles for Ngakoue, 15 tackles for loss, 8 sacks, 17 quarterback hits.
But they franchise tagged him, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They did franchise tag him. But I mean, I'm kind of saying he's available in the same sense.
But to get him, you're going to have to pay Jacksonville to get him.
It's so weird because I don't know how they value him or how they aren't finding a way to put, especially after losing Calais Campbell. And now he said, I don't want to play here. And I'm really interested to see how this whole situation shakes out. If you follow him on Twitter, I mean, he's just been, you think Stephon Diggs is good at cryptic tweeting. It must be something with these Maryland guys because he's from Maryland.
Bro.
He loves putting out the most cryptic,
Here's the move. Here's the move I'd make. If I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I'm going to give you DeMarcus Lawrence and a 3rd rounder for Yannick Ngakoue. Give me that money.
Ooh, I like that. I like it.
Give me that money. I mean, he'd be perfect for them. DeMarcus Lawrence obviously had a down year last year. Ever since they signed him, he ain't done diddly, right? Yeah. They got to pay him. I would rather pay Yannick, his motor never stops. Never.
He's young, too. I mean, Yannick's only, 24. 24 years old.
I'm telling you.
And he's got 37 and a half sacks to his name. And he doesn't even play like every down. Like they've been kind of like, sprinkling him in a little bit down in Jacksonville throughout his career. I want this dude to be on the field 70% of snaps. I want to see what he can do with that. And Dallas, if they get him, that's what'll happen. So that would be cool. I'm a big fan of that. Dallas could also be a landing spot for Everson Griffin. I mean, you saw what they did last year with Robert Quinn. They brought him on a 1-year deal.
I was going to bring that up, but I figured you beat me to it.
Yeah, Lawrence, he's definitely in a prime spot for that. So, Steve made us these awesome cards, so I don't want them to go to waste. So I'm going to pull them up here. We talked about Eric Armstead a little bit early on. 54 total tackles, 13 and a half tackles for loss. This is in 2019. 10 sacks, 19 quarterback hits, 2 forced fumbles, 2 pass deflections. I love this San Francisco line. DeForest Buckner was a big part of that, but I feel confident with the line still being productive for IDP without him. After I saw what Joey Bosa did last year, after I saw what Eric Armstead did last year, and you have to think they're gonna probably bring somebody in or something's gonna change a little bit on that line now that Buckner's gone. That's a big hole to fill. Maybe they move Armstead inside a little bit more often. Maybe they draft somebody. Maybe Ndamukong Suh ends up there. I don't know. Let's just get real weird.
Let's get weird.
So
I'm telling you, I think Suh still has plenty of motor left, and I think I mean, you see what he did for Aaron Donald, and Shaq Barrett. How does people not value this dude? That's what I value.
Agreed.
He's so much to handle. You got to deal with him and just somebody benefits from him. And I'm willing to take it. You know what I mean? I'm looking at, hey, I can make somebody cheap look like a beast, because Shaq Barrett, bro, I'd have dealt that dude away so quick if I was in. What did he do before Ndamukong Suh got there? You know, let's get right back at him. He had a monster year. I mean, he had an all-pro year. 22 half tackles for loss, 19 half sacks, 37 quarterback hits, 2 pass deflections, an interception, 6 forced fumbles. Whoa! Come on, bro. Give me that life.
37 quarterback hits. This guy is a beast. For his sake, we hope that Ndamukong Suh sticks around. Tom Brady probably wants him to stick around too.
Heck yeah.
He's like, keep me off the field, bro.
Bro, hey, I'm another shout out, Steve. These cards are fire, bro. These things are so hot.
Steve's such a gangster. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of your highlights for the free agency guys. I'm sure we missed a few guys here and there. Or maybe we didn't focus on certain people as much as we should have. You know, but that's the nature of the beast. I mean,
here's the thing: if you guys want to hear somebody that you want us to hit on next time, hit us in the comments. We'll start bothering it. So
yeah, tell us.
We're all stuck at home anyway.
Yeah, we're all stuck at home. What is, you know? Here's a good one. Just, you know, if you're listening to this or you hear it on YouTube, you know, or on our Twitter feed, you know, give us your favorite landing spot for one of these guys, or give us the tag that you hope stays, you know, with the team and doesn't get dealt away. So, you know, we're interested to hear what the community thinks, what everybody else thinks about, you know, some of these moves. Obviously, we're not going to, you know, start projecting these guys, you know, stats for the year. There's still a lot to go on the draft. We don't even know if there's going to be football this next year or how that's going to look. So we just wanted to get you guys kind of updated on the moves that happened. Another move that did not happen yet is also Jadeveon Clowney is still available out there. Apparently, I saw a report that the Seahawks want to give him like $18 million a year. So if you want to throw your money away, go ahead and do that. But we're not Clowney fans on this show if anybody hasn't figured that out yet. I mean, I'm sure he's a great guy, and I'm sure he just does wonderful things on the field for some defensive coordinator. But for IDP, he ain't done much. So anyway,
not here for me. Let's bring Steve back in, and maybe he can give us a little pointer about what's going on.
What up?
What you got for us, Steve-O?
Well, all I need to say is what I was saying before about the Matt Judon situation. He got tagged as a linebacker, and instead of being tagged as a defensive end, so that's probably going to make him a little upset.
Yeah, that's definitely going to cost him a couple $1 million. Yeah, Steve has a card here. If you're on YouTube, you'll see it. We got 54 tackles for Judon, 18 tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks, 33 quarterback hits. I mean, that was top 5, top 6, I'm pretty sure. I'll have to double check in the league. And he got franchise tag, like you said, as a linebacker. So he's going to miss out on a little bit of money because of the semantics of the situation, of the position he plays, of the job he has. So it'll be interesting to see how he feels about that and what really happens going forward. You know, some of these guys might hold out until they get a new deal or something. So,
and of course, how is Shaq Barrett going to perform without Suh there if Suh goes elsewhere? Because I don't think they're gonna keep him around. And who's going to be the next Suh? I know Jordan had some insight on that.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've kind of – did you mock Javon Kinlaw to Tampa Bay, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so we're kind of expecting Suh to not be there. And if that's the case, we love Javon Kinlaw in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, that's – I don't think that's going to change for me. Obviously, I'm doing mock draft 2.0, and just because free agency kind of messing things up with me. You know, I had like the Bills taking a wide receiver and then getting Stephon Diggs changes that. You know, as many linebackers as the Raiders have signed, and they've got 2 first-round draft picks. What do they really do now? So they're without a doubt going after a receiver in the first pick. So whether it be Lamb or Judy, they might they might try to get both of them. I don't think they're going to be available in their second pick, but
Well, that doesn't.
I don't know, man. It'll be interesting what I decide to do with the 2.0. So.
All right, one more thing I forgot to mention, or we've kind of forgot to mention, just kind of broke recently, but Jatavis Brown, formerly linebacker for the Chargers, he was picked up or signed by the Eagles. Apparently, it's a 1-year deal. He's got he had 97 tackles in 2018. Not nothing super great, but that would still be the most tackles by an Eagles linebacker in 2018 and 17 and 19, I think. So, I mean, they just need a warm body there right now. They keep doing stuff. Eagles, I keep talking about the Eagles get talked about a lot because they apparently have management and all this, but their linebacker core has been booty for a while.
Like you post up a scarecrow in there and just kind of
just they put a little shaking mechanism on it so he looks like he's real.
Hey, look, there's their linebacker.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing. The thing is, they've made some moves, but have they been the right moves? So
we'll see. Camu Grugier-Hill's not there anymore. Our buddy loves Nate Gary. He's one of the IDP Army guys. There's opportunity there. So
didn't Nate Gary go somewhere?
I don't know if he's even important enough to have gotten a blurb. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Oh, man.
I think he goes somewhere, but I don't remember where it was.
The Broncos, maybe?
Like I said, I don't remember. So much stuff happened on the defensive side of the ball. Like my head was swimming by halfway through day 2, and I tried to keep my head above water and focus on, kind of the bigger names.
Hey, let's give some props to Matthew Loans, who at expandtheboxscore.com did an amazing job keeping up with all the free agency moves the first 2 days. Astounded. And I was driving for most of it, so I was traveling, flying or driving. I literally flew back to California on Monday and packed my stuff up and left Wednesday. It was and then I drove here and to make sure that I could have some kind of setup to just be here and be on the podcast today. So next week will be different, a whole different setup. So.
Hey, whatever, man. It looks good. I'm glad we got the show in. Yeah, shout out to Matt. Shout out to the whole Expand the Box Score crew. We haven't said anything, but if you guys haven't noticed, the IDP Hour or the other podcast we did, we just don't do that anymore. We're focusing all of our attention on this show, the IDP 411. We're not with Full-Time Fantasy Podcast anymore. We're focusing just on being with Expand the Box Score and the IDP 411 going forward. We want to make this the best IDP podcast in the world, and we think we're doing a pretty good job. We've been upping our production value. We've been rearranging.
Our listens show that, at least we can say that. So.
We have seen an upgrade. We've just been trying a little bit harder. Not that we weren't trying hard before, guys, but if you know our story, if you've been following us, we literally threw this podcast together, the IDP 401, the first episode. It was the season had just started, or it was like a day from starting.
The day before.
A bunch of stuff happened all at once that just did not go well for us. And we were just we had to completely change gears, and we were doing this other podcast, but we wanted to do this one too. And, we got lucky. This is actually a good spot for us. We love Expand the Box Score. Andy, Andrew, or, Matthew, all the guys over there, the guys from the Debbie Delight. We got a good crew, good stats over there. Make sure you go check them out. But for me, free agency was fun. There's still some guys to get signed, so we'll see how that goes, and we'll probably talk about it next week. For the free agency show, I feel like we pretty much, covered all the relevant IDP guys. What about you guys? Anybody else or any other comments before we close them out?
No, I just hope we have football this year, man. That's all I care about.
Yep.
I don't know what I do if we don't.
Hoping for football.
Yeah. All right, well, Jared, my man, hit him. Let's give it to him.
And as always, fellas, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Boom.